pieces of David's story. And so last week we kind of talked about how he was anointed, and then Samuel left, and like, what do you do with that God gap? And check that out if you missed that one. But this week, man, it's actually in the same chapter. Man, I'm telling you, David's story is just full of nuggets, right? So same chapter, chapter 16. And just to kind of set the scene, Saul, once David is, kind of anointed, it says the Spirit of God left Saul, who was the previous king. And so he began to be tormented, it says by an evil spirit, but it's really just like depression. He was tormented by, depression. He was very discouraged, and, anxiety and like all this stuff, right? And so all of Saul's servants are like, man, we got to find some way to, make sure, the king is right. And so Saul told his servants in verse 17, go ahead, find me someone who can play well and bring him to me. One of the young men spoke up, I know someone. I've seen him myself, the son of Jesse of Bethlehem, an excellent musician. He's also courageous, of age, well-spoken, and good-looking, and God is with him. Man, it's so powerful, right? Because we just talked about last week about being faithful, and here's what happens when you are faithful. People take notice, right? Like, how did this guy, know that David was an excellent musician? He was courageous, well-spoken, good-looking, all this stuff is because David was faithful. He kept, putting one foot in front of the other and all this stuff. And, people took notice. And, there's a verse in the Bible that says your gift will make room for yourself and bring you before great people. And you really see that with David. Like, he was an excellent musician, well-spoken, all these different things. And it literally brought him to the palace, in his process. And so, I really want to encourage you, like, you may be going through a hard time, you may be going through a good time, whatever. Your coworkers are taking notice of the decisions that you're making, what you're doing in this season. Your neighbors, friends, family, like all these different things, like people are watching your life, and so you want to, be a good example, a good, steward of the gifts that you've been given. If you're Christian, you want to be a good witness to what Christ has done in your life. Sometimes you're the only Bible that someone will ever pick up. Your life is the only Bible that someone will ever read. So I always want to encourage you to, be mindful of that. And one last little thing from this chapter is, just the way that David drove the spirit that was tormenting Saul, the depression, the anxiety, and all this stuff was him playing the harp. It says an excellent musician. He was a harp player. Don't think they had guitars back then, but man, it really speaks to the power of worship. All right, worship music has the power to break depression, break anxiety, all this stuff. And shouts out, we actually have our second worship song, original song, that is almost ready to be released. I think we're in the final countdown, so be looking out for it. It's going to be on Apple Music, Spotify, all of that. It's called Right Here. Seriously, it's helped so many people, break discouragement, break depression, anxiety, all this stuff, and it's powerful. A couple other songs that are on my playlist or on repeat are Torn Wells. He has a song called Hills and Valleys. I know I'm old. It's old and I'm, late to the game, but that song has seriously been ministering to me. And Known, that's a new one he just came out with. And so those songs are powerful. And then Elevation Worship, I always love listening to them. They have a song called Here Again, and that song is phenomenal. So go ahead and share this video and comment. Go ahead and comment your favorite worship song that you're listening to, so that people can have, resources if they're, kind of battling that depression and anxiety like so.